Good evening. I'd like to call to order the March 26, 2025 Apex Parks Recreation and Cultural Resources Advisory Commission. As always, we always start our meeting with a moment of invocation. If you would, just take a moment, bow your head. Next will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you actually say the Pledge of Allegiance?
As always, the meeting minutes have been sent out ahead to the commission to be able to take a review. We've been able to do that. Just like to take a moment to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the February 26th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next up will be the executive report and projects program.
Street hockey. Woo-hoo. Saturday, grand opening, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you're able to make it, please do. Don't know which players are coming out, but apparently some players are coming. I was hoping we'd know that by now, but we don't. It's a really exciting thing. If you haven't been out to the site, it's a really cool addition to our park system, and I think it'll be well used. I'm kind of comparing it to like the skate plaza, and I think that's with the way the skate plaza hit downtown. I think this is gonna be a huge hit there. So I don't have a ton else to really update y'all on currently. We, for Tom's sake, I'll talk about artwork at least. So we're removing the sculptures, the old sculptures, and so we've gone through most of that process. I don't know that they've gotten them all down yet, but
Well, all of that do not have new ones coming in or removed. So when we have a new one come in by the same artist, then we just coordinate so they only have to make one trip. That swap out will happen on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of April.
so I'm looking forward to that. The mural for White Oak Creek was approved as well, and so I know park operations was going to be power washing, so hopefully.
That's right. So painting will start really any day. As soon as
really
that's
any
done,
day.
it probably next week, and that'll take a couple of weeks. So we'll have an incredible mural if you get a chance to go out there and see it in progress. But in a few weeks, we'll be wrapped up.
So that'll be a nice addition as well. Still working on a crosswalk mural as well downtown by the Cultural Arts Center, and still working on the projector project there too. So other than that, we're going through West Street, trying to get some community engagement going for that project for the renovation of West Street Park. I had a conversation with Angela today about that, and the first one will be probably late April time frame. So we're working through it. So
Similar format, like at the park, folks come out and give their input.
yep. So once we get that scheduled, I'll let you know. Other than that, that's really all I have at this point.
Thank you, Craig.
Yep.
I don't have anything for chairman's report. Pause for public comment. Pretty light night.
No public.
The old business there. So we'll move on to new business. And I was informed at the beginning of the meeting, we need to arrange the order of our new business. Jeff needs to be recused on 2 items, so I would suggest, after talking with the crew, let's someone make a motion to move item 3 up, and then we can take care of items 1 and 3 after recusing Jeff, and then bring him back after 1 and 3, and then we'll finish up with 2 and 4.
Motion to move item number 3 up.
Second.
Motion and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. So then we just need a motion to recuse Jeff.
Motion to recuse Jeff.
Second.
Motion and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Real quick, I asked Craig because that Greenway realignment goes through item number 3.
So I recused myself on 3 anyway. I'm the project engineer of record, and 1 was having an impact on it. So that's why I went and asked.
It's a plan change, no matter what the project.
Right, and I just wanted, just so there's no sign that it was up weird.
So I'll make sure you're good. All right, so we'll just go to, I'm gonna do this in order. Okay, item 1. So what you're seeing is a proposed amendment to the transportation plan, and this would include extending our current alignment for the Camp Branch North Greenway, which basically runs from an intersection within the nature park east to Holland Road at this point. So all the way from the park over to this point is where the Camp Branch alignment currently ends. And because since the master plan was adopted, we have had a request from the West Village subdivision, which includes this parcel, an area here and down into here and further south to Pleasant Park. They had asked us to look at ways to provide connectivity from their development to both the nature park and to Pleasant Park. And so, and potentially a way to connect the two. While we don't really have any alignment that works to provide a greenway connection that directly connects Pleasant Park to the nature park, extending the Camp Branch Greenway to Kelly Road through these additional parcels at least gets us to on-street Kelly Road infrastructure, sidewalks and stuff in the future, so that they could provide that, extend that connectivity. So it's a transportation plan separate of any other project. This is just a plan amendment for our proposed greenway alignment, and it would just extend on the north side of Holland Road here. This was determined because of this curve by our transportation department to be the best place for a mid-block crossing. And then this generally follows an existing sewer line. It wouldn't be in the sewer corridor, but within very close proximity, and could fluctuate on either side of the creek, which also runs close to where the sewer line is. So you guys had seen a part of this alignment with a past rezoning request that was not approved by council, and at that time we had recommended a greenway alignment, and that applicant was supportive of that. But since the project didn't get approved by, the rezoning didn't occur and because town council didn't approve it, that plan amendment didn't go through, and we had kind of been waiting on the comprehensive plan update that's going to be starting soon to sort of add any new greenway corridors. But with the current proposed projects that you're gonna hear next, the idea was that we wanted to secure this alignment, again, whether or not any project now or in the future were approved. So our recommendation is to add this proposed greenway alignment as shown.
So would it still be all within sewer easement?
Usually the greenways are in the riparian, outer zone of the riparian areas. The sewer alignment's there. I don't know, we don't know enough information when we do these proposed alignments of whether or not that's the exact best place. And so, again, for us, this is about connecting point A to point B. So if somewhere between, although this mid-block crossing is recommended at that location, connecting from this point A to point B would be something that would be determined as development occurs, which is what you guys normally see is whoever would be developing any of these parcels would be asked to provide a connection and indicate that they're making that east to west connection. Exactly where it happens would be what we would determine during site plan. So the sewer is kind of has some angles and we just don't know. I don't know enough about, especially like where it parallels the road in this area. You know, how it fits in there, and then again, what the ground situation is. If it were, if all of that were deemed to be wetland, then we'd have to do boardwalk, and then we have all kinds of other requirements for offsets, and so it might not be able to be as close within that shared corridor as we think. But again, the sewer easement that we have right now is not designated as both. It was secured and is simply sewer easement, and so it would just be up to us to work through any development that came through.
What's the advantage of doing that kind of alignment versus having like a side path along Holland, getting out to Kelly?
I think because of the way there's a creek in there that you can't see, it would be a better experience to be along the creek. And when we looked at it in the past, the developments that included, any of these three properties would be on the north and south side, so that greenway would be an amenity within their subdivision versus being just something on the exterior. So an amenity within the neighborhood and a better user experience.
What's the approximate length? Do you have that?
I do not.
No worries. I'm trying to do the math, but look, yeah. So okay, I could guess. So,
I mean, 1,500 linear feet,
okay.
give or take. And of course, it would happen with development, and then going westward, some of that area is already developed, and so we'd have to go back into existing neighborhoods, acquire easements, and develop it. But, we're building the gaps as we are able to, and then trying to link those systems up.
Angela, do you recall what the reason was for town council not approving the previous rezoning?
The thing I remember about that rezoning just being something completely different than we had seen, and I don't know their exact rationale for not approving it, but it was the intent at the time was for it to be a large, like, executive home rental neighborhood. And I don't know if it was the density or the idea that it would be like executive homes that were rented, that might have been part of what was considered not desirable. I don't know. Maybe they didn't offer an affordable housing, component and some other things that have been, but again, that's always something that they can do. And the applicant couldn't turn around and come back in and submit something that was not significantly different in nature. And I think at that point, there wasn't another property maybe that met the same criteria for them in where they wanted to develop and what they wanted to develop. So,
thanks for that history on that.
Yeah, I think it's worth, is it worth the, just the premium of investment of the amount of boardwalk that might be required versus having, a road that we can basically add paths. So I'm just trying to weigh kind of experience versus, I guess, being able to make it accessible to Kelly Road along Holland for definitely like not the same premium that it will take to get it like within that riparian area.
Yeah, and understanding that the conversations we've had are until all of us get in and understand what the land looks like. It's kind of hard to know what will be the best location and how it will fit. From just a general perspective of the argument of side path versus greenway, Holland Road hasn't sort of gotten the attention of needing side path, and so it's not on the transportation plan as side path at all anywhere along Holland. And so I don't know that transportation, because that would turn over to them. It wouldn't be a greenway at that point. And so they haven't expressed that they have a strong interest or need to do that. So while that's something we've discussed with them, their first thought wasn't, let's put a side path here because we've had requests. And the idea is we're still trying to get it as south as we can to try to pick up those other neighborhoods.
Do we have a general sense of like how many people kind of across Kelly Road that it's gonna serve? I mean, just kind of this branch specifically.
Well, this is, this whole section is townhomes, but there is like a office component for West Village and retail and stuff down here. And so as those areas and, this develops and further, this is Southwinds, which is a large lot county subdivision. It is not likely in the near future. I mean, it would be significant if enough property owners in this area were to sell to somebody to develop. They're very interested in maintaining those larger lots. And so, the development will all be, down to the south and east.
But yeah, there's more density that those folks could go along Kelly Road and use that as a trailhead to the greater system.
Yeah, and again, this area is not, we've seen some annexations of larger lot homes, but nothing to redevelop this area yet either. So, and we might see some changes about what happens along Kelly Road as that starts to happen.
I'll make a motion to approve the Camp Ranch Greenway corridor extension as proposed.
I'll second.
Motion and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
So, get to the right page. So associated with this area is the Kelly Commons Planned Unit Development Project. It's about 19.42 acres, comprised of 2 tracks south of the intersection of Kelly Road and Holland Road. The request proposes a maximum combination of 65 single-family attached and 25 single-family detached units as part of rezoning to PUD CZ. The property is not within a parkland search area identified on the master plan, and you just reviewed a proposed amendment to add side path or greenway within the project and beyond. And so what we would offer is a credit for the cost to construct and a fee in lieu for this project. So that's our recommendation, is for a fee in lieu with a credit for the construction of greenway.
Questions or thoughts? Sounds like business as usual. Motion.
Motion to approve fee in lieu and credit for construction of greenway.
Second.
Motion and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Who was the second?
Mary Lee.
Sorry.
Someone be so nice to make a motion.
Wants to invite Jeff back.
I'll make a motion to invite Jeff to join us. Come back.
Second that.
Motion properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? He's back.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Thanks for letting me back. No discussion on that last motion?
What would have happened if I hadn't said it?
Might be the first time I would vote no.
I had my chance.
Too fast.
All right, I just thought I'd take you back to the overall, so we just, addressed this area, but now we're gonna move on to Courtyards on Wimberley, which is up in our northwest quadrant near our future Wimberley Road Park. All right, so the Courtyards on Wimberley Planned Unit Development Project is 23.98 acres, comprised of 3 tracts located near the intersection of Wimberley Road and Castleberry Road. On the east side of Wimberley Road, the request proposes a maximum of 61 single-family homes, and they are requesting to rezone to PUD CZ. This property is not located within a parkland search area. It is very close to one of our indoor recreation facility search areas, which overlays our future Wimberley Road Park, which is most of this property right here. And there is a greenway alignment shown, which runs north to south through this tract. Let's see. The applicant is agreeable to greenway with the final alignment to be turned at the time of master subdivision plan approval. and staff is recommending a fee in lieu of dedication with credit for construction of greenway facilities based on the number of units proposed. And that's it.
Angela, this property abuts the ATT, does it not?
Yes, it does.
Are they gonna be looking for a connection point to the ATT or just internal?
It would just be north to south, and that is because we, one, have sort of a generally soft agreement with NC Rail Division to not make too many connections to the Tobacco Trail, and so this would allow for a connection that's planned sort of south, where there's one that's already constructed to the north.
Because there's a gap on the north side of that,
There is a gap.
and are there plans to somebody to acquire that connection, or is the town gonna get stuck with it?
I mean, I think some of that happens with whatever happens to that parcel. I know that there was some discussion about whether or not they could use that or acquire that. It appears that they have not been able to.
Well, it's encumbered with this big stream buffer on it. So my concern is that we're gonna get this greenway on this piece. This is the Brett Gant argument. They're gonna get this piece done, you're gonna have a buffer in the middle, and then you're gonna have the existing piece north, and there's gonna be a 150-foot gap that you're gonna get to put in, so. I didn't know if we could go with an offer to say reimbursement, even if they do the off-site connection across the northern parcel,
I mean, we've talked to them about,
to get but can they get reimbursement for it?
yes, they can.
Okay.
They could. So if they were able to make that connection today, or if their rezoning is approved and they were able to get an easement to make that connection, we would work with them and they would get credit for construction.
I'd love to have that spelled out in our motion, that a recommendation, assuming we make a recommendation to approve, that can we condition that they will get reimbursed for that construction of that gap section to the north?
We have done, when we've requested or identified off-site, then the motion can include a recommendation that if they are able to provide the off-site connection or extend off-site to make the connection, that they would be provided credit for construction.
That's a good point.
I mean, we have all these sidewalk gaps and greenway gaps, and if the reimbursement is available to them to build it, there's no penalty to them for saying, oh, you have to do it as a zoning condition. Yeah, I have to do it, but I'm getting paid back for it. So the developer's not out doing somebody else's work. And my biggest concern is I don't think that piece north of it will ever develop, because it truly has a big stream buffer parallel to the whole property line. So
Question is, would they have to develop boardwalk, or would they be able to develop it as paved greenway to connect?
That just depends on what that exact.
That's a big
piece
difference
is.
in cost and.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're crossing a creek, which greenways crossing creeks.
Bridge, yeah.
So, you can either do a culvert crossing, or you can get a short bridge that's relatively inexpensive. But it is crossing in a perpendicular manner. It's not paralleling the creek.
But no, I agree. I think you're going to make greenways, the more they connect, the better. If not, you're going to get social trails or other challenges, which I've seen on Beaver Creek Greenway, up why we're finally connecting it.
Any other? And Jeff, you said we want that in our motion, or did you say, Angela, that's typically the way it goes?
We can do that. Sometimes we know that we're asking. We have a very specific request that we've made, and we've identified how that would happen. And so, in those cases, we've already had that discussion and kind of already have a plan for that. In this case, we haven't done that, but it only opens the opportunity. It's not requiring them to make that connection, but I mean, it would be a benefit for them if they could make it, and then they would get credit for construction. So,
I'd like to offer up a motion. Sorry.
No, just so it is documented.
Yeah, I'd be happy to offer up a motion for a recommendation for approval for the Wimberley courtyards on Wimberley Plan Unit Development, zoning case 24 CZ 22, for the reimbursement for construction of on-site greenways, as well as reimbursement for public greenways to the north. Is that sufficient for you, Angela?
Off-site public greenways to the north.
Connection to the north.
Greenway connections to north. Yep.
That way, hopefully, the developer will see that, the attorney will see that language and say, I have the ability now to get reimbursed for it. Let's go after the easement. So anyway, that's my motion.
A second.
Motion and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
All right. And last item, the New Hill Olive Chapel Road assemblage is a 16.51 acre property comprised of 5 tracts on the east side of New Hill Olive Chapel Road, just south of Lex Lane. The request proposes a maximum combination of 40 single-family detached units as a part of a rezoning to medium-density conditional zoning. This property is not within a parkland search area on the master plan, and there are no greenways shown within the property. This is one of those ones that, while we're making a recommendation on it now, will go to town council at the time of subdivision plan. So while we're indicating the 2025 rates, depending on when, if they were to receive their medium density rezoning approval, when they come in for subdivision plan, that's when we would take a recommendation with ours and yours to town council. So a fee in lieu is our recommendation at the time of the master subdivision plan approval.
Questions or comments? Need a motion?
I move that we recommend the fee in lieu of dedication based on the proposed location, acreage, and number of units being developed in the New Hill Olive Chapel Road assemblage.
I'll second.
It's been motion and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And, that completes new business. No other items. This will be a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.